Imagine a city of 5,000 people, but there are no streets, no houses, and no escape. This city has a military objective, it moves at over 30 miles per hour, and it's powered by 2 nuclear reactors. This is a United States aircraft carrier, and for the men and women serving on board, it is home. But how does a floating city function? How does it feed a population the size of a small town, ensure everyone has a place to sleep, and maintain basic sanitation, all while operating in a high-stakes environment? Today we're going inside the complex and often unseen world of logistics, engineering, and human endurance that keeps a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier and its 5,000-person crew running at peak performance. This is the story of how 5,000 U.S. troops eat, shower, and sleep on a giant aircraft carrier. To understand the scale, you have to look at the numbers. The Gerald R. Ford class, the newest generation of these vessels, displaces about 100,000 tons and is longer than 3 football fields. The crew? Over 4,000 to 5,000 sailors and aircrew. As noted in operational reports from U.S. Central Command, these vessels are not just warships, they are hubs of diplomatic and military activity. In recent months, carriers like the USS Gerald R. Ford have been transiting key waterways like the Suez Canal, demonstrating their global reach and strategic importance. According to imagery released by CENTCOM in March 2026, these transits involve complex coordination with other naval assets, showcasing the immense logistical machinery that supports a single carrier strike group. But a ship is only as effective as the people who run it. And to run effectively, those 5,000 people need to be fed, rested, and clean. It's a logistical challenge that rivals that of a small city. Let's start with the most critical element for morale and physical performance: food. The galley on a carrier is a culinary battlefield. The goal? To serve approximately 18,000 meals a day. Yes, you heard that right. That's about 6 meals for every single person on board, factoring in the 24/7 operational schedule. Navy culinary specialists often describe their work as running a high-volume restaurant that never closes. One culinary specialist, in an interview with Navy Public Affairs, explained, "People don't realize the scale. We're not cooking for a restaurant. We're cooking for a small city. We go through about 1,500 pounds of chicken, 500 pounds of ground beef, and 200 gallons of milk every single day. We have to plan weeks in advance for replenishment at sea. It's a puzzle." The logistics of this are staggering. Supply ships conduct what are known as underway replenishments, or UNREPs. The carrier and supply ship steam alongside each other, sometimes only 100 feet apart, while highlines and cables transfer pallets of frozen meat, fresh vegetables, and dry goods. These operations, often conducted in open oceans, are dangerous and require immense precision. Helicopters also play a crucial role through vertical replenishments, or VERTREPs, where CH-53 or MH-60 helicopters sling pallets of supplies directly onto the flight deck. Every few days, a carrier must connect with a supply ship to keep its galleys stocked. Without these lifelines, the ship would run out of fresh food in about 2 weeks. The system is designed to be seamless, allowing the carrier to remain on station for months without ever pulling into port. The meals themselves are designed for both nutrition and variety. Sailors work the 12 to 15-hour shifts, burning thousands of calories. The galley operates 23 hours a day, offering a rotating menu of breakfast, lunch, and dinner staples, from fresh eggs and pancakes at 3 a.m. to grilled steaks and comfort food at midnight. There's even a midnight rations meal for the night shift, often called midrats, which provides hot food for sailors coming off duty in the early morning hours. The menu is carefully planned by dietitians to ensure sailors receive the energy and nutrients needed for demanding physical and mental tasks. Special dietary needs, including vegetarian, kosher, and halal options, are also accommodated to respect the diverse backgrounds of the crew. But feeding 5,000 people is more than just cooking. It's about waste management. An aircraft carrier is a closed environment. All the food waste is processed in massive pulpers, ground up and discharged into the ocean in compliance with international environmental laws. The Navy adheres strictly to the MARPOL Convention, which regulates pollution from ships. Solid waste, like plastics and metals, is compacted and stored on board until it can be offloaded at port. It's a system designed for maximum efficiency and minimal environmental impact. Every scrap of food waste is carefully managed, ensuring that the carrier leaves no trace behind as it operates across the world's oceans. Now, let's talk about hygiene and sanitation. With 5,000 people living in close quarters, a single outbreak of illness could cripple the ship's operational capability. Hygiene is not just a personal choice, it's a matter of national security. The head, as the Navy calls its bathrooms, is a highly regulated space. But the real miracle isn't the showers, it's the water itself. A carrier makes its own fresh water. Using onboard desalination plants, which are essentially massive, shipboard reverse osmosis systems, the vessel converts thousands of gallons of seawater into potable fresh water every hour. These systems use high-pressure pumps to force seawater through semi-permeable membranes, separating salt and impurities from the water. This water is used for drinking, cooking, and hygiene. It's also essential for the nuclear reactors, which require ultra-pure water for cooling and steam generation. According to Navy engineering protocols, the water quality is tested constantly to ensure it meets or exceeds safety standards. Multiple tests are conducted daily to check for salinity, pH levels, and bacterial contamination. Every drop used for a shower or to wash a dish starts as seawater and is purified within the ship's own infrastructure. The desalination plants are so efficient that a carrier can produce over 400,000 gallons of fresh water per day, far exceeding the daily consumption needs of the crew. This self-sufficiency allows the carrier to remain at sea indefinitely, limited only by food supplies and the endurance of the crew. Then there's the laundry. The ship's laundry facilities, known as S2, are industrial-scale operations. They process thousands of pounds of laundry daily, from flight deck jerseys covered in jet fuel residue to dress uniforms. It's a 24/7 operation, often run by a small team of sailors who work in a hot, humid environment to ensure everyone has clean clothes. Industrial-sized washers and dryers run continuously, with sailors sorting, washing, drying, and folding mountains of laundry around the clock. Flight deck crews, whose clothing is often soaked in hydraulic fluid and jet fuel, have special washing procedures to ensure their gear is properly decontaminated. Keeping the ship clean is a collective effort. Field Day, as it's called, is a shipwide cleaning ritual where every department scrubs, paints, and polishes their spaces. It's a weekly tradition that prevents corrosion, maintains equipment, and upholds standards. Every sailor, from the most junior enlisted to the commanding officer, participates. Spaces are inspected meticulously, and cleanliness is considered a direct reflection of discipline and combat readiness. The constant battle against rust, known as the Red Menace, is a never-ending task in the saltwater environment. Now, we come to the most precious commodity on a carrier: sleep. For the 5,000 crew members, finding a place to rest is a complex operation in itself. This is where the concept of hot racking comes into play. Because the ship operates 24 hours a day, the crew is divided into shifts, known as watches. There simply isn't enough space for every person to have their own bed. In a hot racking system, 3 sailors share 2 bunks. One sailor is on duty, another is resting, and a third is about to come off duty. When one gets out of bed, another gets in, so the bed is never empty. The sheets are often changed at shift changes to maintain hygiene, though in practice, sailors often use their own sleeping bags for convenience. Junior enlisted sailors live in large berthing compartments known as the berthings. These are often located deep within the ship, near the waterline for safety. They contain rows of 3-tiered racks, bunks, with small metal lockers for personal belongings. Each rack comes with a privacy curtain, a small reading light, and a ventilation vent. Personal space is minimal, often limited to a small locker and the bunk itself. Sailors learn to live in close quarters, respecting each other's sleep schedules and maintaining a clean, organized environment. Officers have slightly more privacy, living in small staterooms that they often share with 1 or 2 others. The commanding officer has a larger cabin, but even that is Spartan compared to civilian standards. On a warship, every square inch is reserved for mission-critical systems. Sleep is strategic. The ship's operational schedule dictates when and where people rest. During high-tempo operations, like flight operations or transiting strategic choke points like the Strait of Hormuz, sleep becomes even more scarce. The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow passage between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, has been a focal point of geopolitical tension. Religious services are held regularly, with chaplains representing multiple faiths, providing spiritual support. The ship's library offers books, movies, and video games. Educational programs allow sailors to take college courses while deployed, advancing their education during their time at sea. Mental health is a priority. The ship deploys with a medical team that includes psychologists and chaplains. Programs are in place to help sailors cope with the stress of being away from family for extended periods, dealing with the constant noise, and managing the pressures of a high-stakes environment. According to news reports from sources like the Associated Press, the life of a deployed service member involves navigating not just the physical dangers of their mission, but the mental strain of isolation. In March 2026, the AP covered the broader context of military deployments, highlighting the challenges faced by service members stationed far from home during periods of heightened global tension. The Navy has implemented numerous programs to address mental health, including counseling services, stress management workshops, and peer support networks. The goal is to ensure that sailors not only survive their deployment, but emerge resilient and ready for future challenges. The crew represents a cross-section of America. They come from every state, every background, and they work side by side for a common purpose. On any given day, you'll find sailors from rural Midwest towns working alongside those from major coastal cities. There are immigrants who became citizens through their service, and there are multi-generational Navy families carrying on traditions. Women make up approximately 20% of the crew, serving in every role from the flight deck to the engine room. The Navy has worked to create an inclusive environment with policies addressing equal opportunity, sexual harassment prevention, and diversity and inclusion. Despite the challenges, many sailors describe their time on a carrier as one of the most rewarding experiences of their lives, forming bonds that last a lifetime. All of this infrastructure, the food, the water, the beds, exists for one reason: to enable the ship to do its job. The crew of an aircraft carrier isn't just surviving at sea, they are maintaining a state of constant readiness. The context for this readiness is often the global geopolitical landscape. As seen in news headlines throughout March 2026, the U.S. military has been operating in complex environments. Reports from Reuters and Bloomberg detail ongoing tensions in the Middle East, including the conflict involving Iran and Israel, and the strategic maneuvering of global powers. According to a Reuters report from March 17, 2026, U.S. forces have been actively engaged in the region, with Central Command providing updates on operations. Bloomberg reported on the same date about the economic ripple effects of the conflict, including oil price surges and supply chain disruptions. The Associated Press covered the human impact, including the displacement of civilians and the strain on regional infrastructure. In this context, an aircraft carrier is more than just a warship. It is a symbol of American power and a tool for deterrence. Its ability to remain at sea for months, supported by the complex logistics of food, water, and crew welfare, allows the U.S. to project force anywhere in the world within days. The Carrier Strike Group operates as a self-contained unit, capable of conducting airstrikes, maritime security operations, and humanitarian assistance. The crew's ability to maintain peak performance, even under the most challenging conditions, is a testament to their training, dedication, and resilience. According to a CENTCOM press release from March 16, 2026, Operation Epic Fury demonstrated the coordinated capabilities of U.S. naval and air forces in the region, showcasing the readiness that is sustained by the daily routines we've explored in this video. The life of a sailor on a carrier is one of routine and repetition, punctuated by moments of intense activity and high stress. The day begins early, often before sunrise, with reveille sounding through the ship's intercom. Sailors rise from their racks, quickly make their beds, and head to the head to brush their teeth and shave. Then it's off to the galley for breakfast. Eggs, bacon, pancakes, cereal, fruit, fuel for the day ahead. After breakfast, the ship transforms. On the flight deck, aircraft are moved into position, engines are tested, and ordnance is loaded. Below deck, sailors work in engineering spaces where temperatures can exceed 100 degrees, maintaining the reactors and propulsion systems. In combat information centers, sailors track radar contacts, coordinate air operations, and monitor for potential threats. The flight deck is perhaps the most dangerous workplace in the world. During flight operations, which can last 12 to 14 hours, sailors in colored jerseys, yellow for officers directing aircraft, purple for fuel handlers, red for ordnance, green for maintenance, white for safety, blue for aircraft handling, and brown for air wing commanders, work in a coordinated ballet of movement. The noise is constant and deafening, requiring double hearing protection. Jet engines blast at over 140 decibels. The catapult launches aircraft at 150 mile-per-hour speeds, and the arresting gear catches them with brutal force. Sailors must remain constantly aware of their surroundings. A moment of distraction can be fatal. The flight deck is also where the ship's mission is most visible. Each launch and recovery represents the projection of power, the ability to strike targets hundreds of miles away or provide support to ground forces. When flight operations cease, the ship doesn't rest. Maintenance continues through the night. Engineers work on the reactors and propulsion systems. Aviation mechanics repair aircraft, supply personnel inventory, and distribute stores. The galley serves midrats to the night shift. And somewhere, in the berthings deep within the ship, sailors sleep in their hot-racked bunks, preparing for the next day. This cycle continues for months, broken only by occasional port visits, which offer a brief respite. Port visits are cherished opportunities for sailors to step on solid ground, explore new cultures, and reconnect with the world beyond the ship's steel walls. The stories of individual sailors bring the experience to life. There's the story of a young seaman from Ohio who joined the Navy to see the world and found himself launching fighter jets from a carrier in the Arabian Sea. There's the story of a chief petty officer from Texas, a 20-year veteran, who has spent more time at sea than with his family. There's the story of a female aviator from California who flies FA-18 Super Hornets and has logged over 200 carrier landings. Each sailor has a unique background and motivation, but they share a common purpose. They are part of something larger than themselves, a floating city of 5,000 souls bound together by duty, sacrifice, and the knowledge that their work matters. The challenges are immense. Deployments typically last 6 to 9 months, with extensions possible depending on global events. During that time, sailors miss birthdays, anniversaries, and the births of their children. They rely on email, phone calls, and care packages from home to stay connected. The ship's morale, welfare, and recreation program organizes events and provides resources to help ease the isolation. But the separation takes a toll. Many sailors describe the day they return to port, seeing their families waiting on the pier, as one of the most emotional moments of their lives. It's a reunion made possible by the support systems on board that sustain them during their time away. The technology that enables the carrier's operations is constantly evolving. The Gerald R. Ford class introduced the Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System, or EMALS, which replaces traditional steam catapults with a more efficient and powerful electromagnetic system. The ship also features advanced radar systems, automated weapons handling, and improved living spaces compared to older carriers. The crew is smaller than on previous classes, thanks to automation, but the demands on each sailor are greater. Training is continuous, with sailors constantly upgrading their skills to keep pace with new technology. The ship itself is a floating laboratory, testing new systems and procedures that will shape the future of naval warfare. The environmental impact of such a vessel is carefully managed. The nuclear reactors produce no emissions while underway, allowing the carrier to operate for decades without refueling. Waste disposal follows strict protocols to protect marine life. The Navy works with environmental agencies to ensure compliance with all applicable laws. In the context of global climate concerns, the efficiency of nuclear power offers significant advantages over conventionally powered vessels, reducing the Navy's carbon footprint while providing unlimited range. Returning to the core theme of this video, the ability to feed, clean, and house 5,000 troops on a giant aircraft carrier is a marvel of logistics, engineering, and human organization. It requires meticulous planning, round-the-clock effort, and a crew willing to sacrifice comfort and convenience for the mission. From the galley staff preparing 18,000 meals a day to the engineers ensuring a steady supply of fresh water, from the sailors hot racking and berthings deep within the ship to the flight deck crews operating in the most dangerous environment on Earth, every individual plays a critical role.